Hello everybody and welcome back to Homefront Wargaming. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, which is a rules review. We're going to be reviewing the game Live Free or Die, presented by Little Wars TV. This game was written by Greg Wagman and Tom McKinney back in 2021. It is available for purchase if you go to Little Wars TV/Live Free or Die. It's going to take you over to BattleBox Studios, where you can go ahead and purchase a print copy of this game for $20. 50% of all the proceeds go to help out the American Battlefield Trust, which is a great cause for preserving and educating on battlefields around the United States. You can get a PDF version of this game as well for $13, which is a print. You can go ahead and print that at home if you want. That's what I have here, so I purchased the PDF. So I have that. The PDF version has the exact same thing as the print version. It has your base rule set, which is only 4 pages, and then it does have 3 scenarios. Additionally, they have a supplement that you can purchase, which is called Victory or Death, and that's going to include a whole bunch more scenarios, so that way you don't even have to do any of the work. They've already done it all for you. Go onto their website at Little Wars TV/Live Free or Die. You can go ahead and you can get some additional support from them. They do have a how to play video that they put out a few years ago. So what do you need to get into playing Live Free or Die? The first thing you're going to need, obviously, is the rule set, print or PDF, which like I said, I have the PDF version. After you purchase your rule set, you're going to want to go ahead and get yourself some miniatures. This is scale agnostic. You can use whatever miniatures you want. I used, for my Freeman's Farm game, I used the Risk Pieces armies I completed just as representations of American War of Independence armies on the tabletop. But if you have 6mm, 15mm, 28mm, it's all great. Really, the basing is pretty flexible in this game as well, so far, as long as both sides are based similarly. I have everything based on 1-inch square. I think that's a good basing for just about anything because it's incredibly flexible. You can put more bases together, you can take them away, and it can work for a variety of rule sets. This game is D6 base, so you're going to want to make sure you have a couple handfuls of D6. That's 6-sided dice. Because this is a very dice-heavy game, and for some of your shooting rolls, your charges, and morale checks, you're going to be rolling a bunch of dice for that. So, which I think is fun. It's always fun to roll a big handful of dice. So. Alright, so once you go ahead and get yourself all prepped, you've got a little table set up with some terrain, you've got your dice, you've got your miniatures all set up, you're going to want to get yourself together in order of battle. And so you're going to be assembling your miniatures in groups of regiments. That's going to be those 1-inch square bases or whatever bases you have grouped together to form historically accurate regiments or close to it for whatever you want to play. Like I said, they do include 3 scenarios with the rules. And they have all the orders of battle out there for you, so you don't have to do any of the work. You can just basically plug and play on the table. If you want to do the legwork, of course, you can do your own. And then you just got to figure out bigger regiments, more bases, smaller regiments, less bases. You're going to go ahead and assign your army a commanding officer and several lieutenants. The commanding officer is going to have a command points value as well as a star rating. The lieutenants will have a star rating as well. What this is going to do is your command points these are points you're going to spend on your orders when it's your turn. This does everything in the game, from moving your units around the table to rallying your troops, forcing your troops to go into a charge. What the stars do is at the beginning of a turn, you're going to be able to roll 1d6 per star for every one of your leaders and lieutenants. And on a 5 or 6, you'll get extra command points to spend. So that's nice. You can end up with potentially quite a few more than you expected to have. The leader stars are also going to be important later on in combat because they're going to help you out when it comes to firing charges. They're going to help you out when it comes to your morale checks. So having leaders around is very important. So the turn sequence for this game is pretty standard. You're going to be rolling for your command points first, rolling for those stars, seeing if you get any extra moves. You're going to go ahead and then roll against each other for an initiative, and then this ends up being an I go, you go game for the first 2 phases, which is going to be your leader actions and your charges. Leader actions are basically, are you attaching to a unit? Are you rallying off DMZs? Your charges is when you're going to be forcing your guys into hand-to-hand or melee combat. So you're going to spend command points, and then you're going to roll 2d6 to see if you can actually get to the unit that you're trying to charge. Each pip on the d6 is going to equal an inch, and if you make it into combat, then they stay locked. Then you go into the shooting phase. Everybody shoots simultaneously, or if I'm shooting at you, then you're just rolling back at me, whatever. Everybody is shooting at the same time. Regular fire And then you have volley fire. Volley fire is where you're rolling 2d6 per unit. It's pretty deadly. Yeah, on a 5 or 6, so you got a pretty good chance of causing some casualties there. In this game, every time that your units take a positive hit, they're going to get a DMZ. A DMZ is for damage, demoralization, death, disorganization, just general. It's just not good. You represent that with a red chip placed down next to your unit. And if they take 5 DMZs, then you're going to be physically removing a base from their regiment, and then they're going to have to roll for morale. If they fail the morale check, they're going to have to retreat. If they retreat and they pass other units, the other units may have to roll a morale check for themselves, and they may end up retreating as well. So this could end up causing multiple retreats back from just one unit removing a base. And I like that aspect of the game. Now in Live Free or Die, your troops are all going to have different classifications, different quality for them. This is going to play a big factor when they are fighting in their charges. So after you resolve your shooting phase, you're going to go into charges, and then you're essentially going to follow this little chart. You're going to roll a d6 per unit that's in that fight, and then you're going to compare the results. Again, 5s and 6s are positive hits. Whoever has more obviously is going to have a better outcome, and the loser is going to end up taking DMZs, potentially losing bases, and it's just not going to be good for them. If your leader is attached to a unit that ends up removing a base, they themselves could have possibly been hit, and so your leader will then have to roll a certain number of dice to see if they are going to take a hit to themselves. Any 1s are positive, and if they roll a 1, then they have to roll on the commander risk table. If you roll a 1 again, your leader is killed. He's instantly removed from play. A 2 to 3 would be a serious wound, and a 4 to 6 would be a light wound, and there's different penalties based off of those different results. At the end of a turn, any units that are not within 12 inches of an enemy can actually remove DMZs. So when it comes to winning the game, that all depends on your scenario. This isn't a balanced game where we're coming at the table competitively to try to win a tournament. This is going to be used for scenarios. So if you play the Little Wars TV scenarios they have in there, they're obviously going to have their victory conditions, and they're going to lay everything out for you, but you can always set your own. It's a very, very flexible game. So if you go on the Little Wars TV, like I said, you get their quick reference sheet. Everything you need to play the game pretty much is on here, except for the what you need to roll for morale based off of your unit's class. So for that, you'll want to have that page open and sitting next to this on the table. Those two sheets together is everything you need to play the game. So what are my personal feelings on Live Free or Die? Well, I'm going to admit something here, guys, which is that I am a huge fan of Little Wars TV, and so I am coming into this review with a little bit of a bias. But honestly, I love the rule set. It worked very well for the Freeman's Farm scenario. I wouldn't have wanted to use it for my Oriskany battle, just because that was so close, and I really wanted to represent the fact there was a lot of melee and it was guys scattered all over the place and it was chaotic. This one's not going to be used for a game like that. I don't think you would want to, because you're going to have such a hard time maneuvering around that terrain. It's just going to take forever. So this is definitely better for a little bit more open. You definitely have opportunities though to get some nice terrain on the table, maybe a small town, some buildings, and then go ahead and really fight that kind of almost Napoleonic line type battle where you have regiments coming up against each other, they're firing, and then they're retreating, they're reorganizing, they're coming back together, they're firing, they're retreating, and that's the way that battles were fought in the American War of Independence. A lot of maneuver and a lot of falling back and coming back forward. I think the rules represent that very well. If I had anything negative to say about the game, it's just the fact that it is only 4 pages long, so you probably need an extra 20 pages of like errata in order to really understand a lot of what they meant by certain things. To me, I was confused by a couple of the rules. I found myself going to Reddit, going to Facebook, and asking these questions, and I've gotten very good responses from the community of people who play this game, and so I've been able to figure out an answer to pretty much all of my questions. All right, so in summary, Live Free or Die by Little Wars TV. I love the game. I think it's great for scenario play, for playing big battles. It worked really good for Freeman's Farm, and I would definitely play it again. So that's really all I got for this. If you liked the video, let me know in the comments if there was anything you would like me to add, take away. Was it too fast, too slow? This is my first rules review, so I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. This wasn't scripted or anything like that. Appreciate everybody that's watched so far. We're up to 73 subscribers, which is a really big deal for a small wargaming channel on YouTube, which is a very niche hobby. So thank you guys from Homefront Wargaming and the Jones family. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.